This is the shocking story of Dianella, a slay queen who refused to bathe for an entire year. At first, it was laziness, then, it turned into a secret school bet, and before anyone knew it, something darker took over. Her skin glowed. People said she smelled sweet. But deep down, a terrible truth was growing, and when it finally came out, even her family couldn't recognize her. What really happened to Dianella? And why did everyone who got close to her start suffering one by one? This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Watch till the end. Dianella was the definition of a slay queen. Her skin glowed, her edges were always laid, and she walked like the world belonged to her. But behind that glam was a dark secret, one no one could have imagined. It started with laziness. Just one day, she skipped bathing. Then 2. Then 3. The mirror still showed a glowing girl. Her friends said she still smelled amazing. So she asked herself, why bother? Then came the bet. A silly challenge at school, let's see who can go without bathing the longest. Dianella laughed and agreed. It was supposed to last a week, but she took it further, much further. Weeks passed. Still no water touched her skin. Her classmates kept saying she smelled divine, almost like perfume came from her pores. That was when pride stepped in, and a spiritual force followed. Her best friend Dora noticed something strange. Dianella's room always smelled like roses, even though there was no perfume bottle in sight. But when Dora questioned her, Dianella simply smiled, and said, I'm different. Dora was scared. She noticed Dianella hadn't washed her bedsheet in months, yet it stayed spotless. Her towel stayed dry, even her sponge was stiff from lack of use. Something wasn't right. Whispers began in school. She doesn't bath, oh. But instead of shame, Dianella embraced it. She turned it into fame. Students adored her. Some even tried copying her. She became a campus legend. She started getting attention from lecturers, from brands, from influencers. And then came Donald, rich, handsome, and dangerous. He fell for her at first sight, unaware of what lurked beneath her beauty. Donald didn't care about rumors. He bought her phones, jewelry, even flew her to a 5-star hotel in Lekki. But at night, when she refused to shower before bed, he started asking questions. Babe, you don't want to shower? He asked. Dianella smiled sweetly, no need. I'm always fresh. He laughed it off. But that night, he couldn't sleep. Something about her scent was unnatural. Dora finally had enough. She visited Dianella's parents in Lagos, Mr. Victor and Mrs. Comfort. Please talk to your daughter. Something is wrong. But they too had noticed the strange glow. Mrs. Comfort wept. She barely visits anymore. And when she does, our dog hides. Dora's heart sank. Even animals could sense what humans were ignoring. Something spiritual was at play. Dora confided in Father Charles, a local pastor with deep spiritual insight. After prayer, he opened his eyes slowly and said, she's hosting something. A spirit of pride. Mixed with seduction and darkness. At school, Dianella was glowing more than ever. She walked through campus like a goddess. But at night, when she was alone, she would hear whispers. At first soft. Then louder. Then screaming. She was trapped. The spirit that once made her powerful now made her paranoid. She stopped picking Dora's calls. She avoided Donald. She stayed locked in her hostel, staring at walls. Alone. Her best friend Dora came to the hostel, banging on her door. Dianella. Please talk to me. But Dianella never opened. Behind that door, she was crying, but the spirit wouldn't let her speak. Her friends, Mercy, Angela, Dara, even Siphon, slowly pulled away. They started avoiding her. Rumors were getting scary. She doesn't eat. She talks to herself. Her mirror broke on its own. Donald showed up one night, furious. "What's happening to you?" he shouted. But as she turned slowly to face him, he stepped back. Her eyes were different. Hollow. Almost possessed. He ran, and he never returned her calls. Even his friends, Chris and Emma, blocked her. That night, she stood in front of the mirror and whispered, "What have I become?" The next morning, she fainted in class. Students screamed. The school nurse said she hadn't eaten in days. Her skin was dry. Her pulse weak. They rushed her to the hospital. Her parents arrived at the hospital crying. Her father, Mr. Victor, kept shouting, "Why didn't we do something earlier?" But Dianella just lay there, pale, still, lost. Father Charles was called again. This time, he didn't pray, he screamed. As he anointed her with oil, Dianella began convulsing. The spirit inside her wasn't ready to let go. It took 3 hours of deliverance. But when it was over, Dianella screamed one final time, then passed out. When she woke up, she didn't remember anything. Only the pain. The spirit was gone. But the damage was deep. Her skin was dry and patchy. Her self-esteem shattered. She looked in the mirror and wept for the girl she used to be. Back at home, Dianella avoided the world. She deactivated all her social media. The fame was gone. The Slay Queen era ended. All that remained was silence. Dora visited with tears. "You're still my best friend," she whispered, hugging her tight. That hug was the beginning of healing, the first time Dianella truly smiled in months. Weeks turned to months. Dianella started therapy. She joined a women's fellowship. Her laughter returned slowly, like a flower blooming after drought. She began to find herself again. She now teaches girls in her neighborhood about hygiene, pride, and spiritual protection. "I was once lost," she tells them. "Now I know better." Her story became her ministry. Today, she bathes not just her body, but her soul. Because sometimes, the scariest dirt isn't on the skin, it's in the spirit. But not everyone forgave easily. Some people still mocked her online, sharing old videos. 1 year without bathing. "That girl's cursed," they said. The internet never forgets. She cried that night. But then she opened her journal and wrote, "My past does not define me. My healing is louder than their gossip." Donald tried to come back. He texted, he called, he even came to her house. But Dianella didn't open the door. Healing taught her how to choose peace over pain. Father Charles invited her to speak at the youth fellowship. At first, she said no, but one Sunday, she stood on stage and told the world her truth. She told them about the bet. The laziness. The pride. The darkness. The possession. And then she paused. "But I'm still here," she said. "And I'm free." Girls started messaging her after the service. "You saved me," one wrote. "I've been struggling too." Her pain had become someone else's survival guide. Her mother, Mrs. Comfort, hugged her and whispered, "I thought we lost you. But God brought you back better." That moment meant everything. She started a podcast called The Mirror Diaries, where girls talked about beauty, self-worth, and spiritual hygiene. Her voice healed many. 1 year later, she was invited to speak at a Lagos women's conference. She wore white, not for beauty, but for purity of purpose. Siphon, Angela, Dara, and Mercy were in the crowd. They watched her in awe. Dora sat in front, cheering. Their Slay Queen had become a queen of strength. Even Emma and Chris showed up with Donald. He watched silently, maybe proud, maybe ashamed. But Dianella never looked their way. She left the stage that day, not as a girl who stopped bathing, but as a woman who washed her past in fire and rose from the ashes. At home, her siblings, Becky, patience, and Samuel, through a surprise dinner. To our sister, the warrior, they toasted. She laughed. Not the forced kind, the real one. For the first time in a long time, she felt whole. She now walks past mirrors with pride. Her skin is soft, her soul is softer. Her scars, they shine like gold. People still whisper about the girl who didn't bath for a year. But that's not who she is. Not anymore. She is living proof that demons don't always wear horns, sometimes, they wear confidence, pride, and perfume. And angels? Sometimes they look like friends who stay, pastors who pray, and mothers who never give up. Dianella isn't perfect. But she's present. And every day, she chooses to show up, clean, healed, human. So the next time you judge someone's mess, remember, even a dirty story can have a sparkling ending. If this story moved you, like, comment, I believe in second chances, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking true stories that stay with you forever.